everybody. Quiet, listen to me. We're going to start a show.
Someone made like just this blood-soaked hospital with human bones everywhere. Just like
that sounds horrifying.
They made it so horror-based. They're like, here's my
Animal Crossing got dark.
Well, yeah.
Do you guys want to do this podcast? All right. Well, welcome to the Ink and Paint Club podcast, everybody, and I hope you enjoyed Kyle's lovely story about the Blood Hotel or Blood.
Oh, we were recording.
I just start randomly recording all the time.
Oh, okay. I guess that works.
Well, anyway, if you're new here, my name is JD. Kyle, you can't do this every fucking episode. Oh my god.
I'm Kyle.
I'm Andy.
Kyle, I swear to God, if you do that one more time, I'm just gonna say your name for you.
I'm just off the show forever.
Vanished.
Anyways, this is my lovely friend Andy, who didn't get a proper introduction because JD had to bitch about me. So
Andy said hi.
My friend Andy.
Hi, but I said hi, but I'll say hi again. I mean,
Andy's only your friend, huh?
Yeah.
Guys. I'm everybody's friend.
You're both pretty. So anyway, last week on the show we were talking about Nicktoons from the 90s, and we were going to just make it a one-episode thing until we realized we only got halfway through the 90s, so...
It was a long decade, apparently.
It was a long decade full of good shows. This week, I don't know. That's kind of up to interpretation.
So why don't we call this the bad episode?
I was just going to call it part 2, but...
This is the steep downhill.
Part dos for you Spanish-speaking people. So let's just get right into it. How about that?
Okay, fine. Well, what do we talk about first? I mean,
well, according to my Wikipedia list, where we left off, let's talk about Hey Arnold first.
I have very mixed feelings about Hey Arnold. The more I look back on it,
right?
I don't know.
Do explain.
It's weird. Just more I looked at a lot of the characters were just. Maybe I'm not thinking about it. Maybe I'm just remembering select episodes. But I just thought back on it. It seemed like it was trying to be Seinfeld for kids.
I could see that.
Yeah. Anyone else like it was trying to be dealing with problems you deal with in real life, but
it was a very slice of life kind of show.
Well, except for the episode when their grandfather, who seemed to never die, they dropped his priceless antique watch down the sewer, and they had to climb into the sewer.
Oh, yeah.
And they had to get it back from the sewer king, who was this guy who lived in the sewers.
Or the episode about Pigeon Man, and he flies off with pigeons.
There was also their vigilante superhero Monkey Man.
Monkey Man!
I don't know. Maybe I was wrong saying that. I think I was thinking of something entirely different. Actually, the superhero man I could believe, because there are nerds who go out in superhero costumes and try to enact vigilante justice. So yeah, but
that's probably the most realistic thing.
They had the best nightmare-inducing image in the show.
What was that?
Where Arnold was fucking old as shit. And then he's riding the bus, and then he looks at his grandpa, who's also riding the bus. And he was, zombified, and then his fucking face falls off.
I remember that now.
Show got kind of heavy at times. God, does anyone remember the Christmas special?
Oh, God, the Christmas episode made me cry as a kid.
That episode fucking came out of nowhere. It was, all, you had episodes that were about, trying to have the perfect Saturday, and... stuff like that. And then here's this really upsetting Christmas episode.
Yeah, it's here's an episode
out really well, but still, it's about Mr. Huynh.
Yeah, Mr. Huynh. He's trying to find his daughter because he escaped Vietnam back in the war days, and when they go do a flashback of the Vietnam War, it's they almost don't hold back from how awful it was.
No, I remember the scene pretty. It was they were trying to get out, and he gives up his infant daughter.
Because it's like, we got one more person on the helicopter, and it's like, here, take the baby.
Take the baby, I'll stay back. And it's like, it's even more upsetting when you realize that Mr. Wynn is like this really nice, friendly, well-meaning guy. He was like a comic relief character in most cases. Like, they'd always kind of make fun of the fact. Yeah, like, they'd always just make fun of him.
They loved Mr. Wynn.
Overly optimistic and...
that episode, he's like...
Then the Christmas special happens and BAM! Right in the heels, as they say.
Yeah.
They had, like, the best characters, because, like, me and my friend Quincy will always talk about Oscar. We'll just be like, you keep the money. And like, it's always funny. The money.
No.
The kitty.
Yeah.
He used to learn to read.
Like I don't know. I think his grandfather was my favorite character.
No, I keep telling Mel this all the time. It's like, I hope that when we grow up, we're like those grandparents. I mean, we kind of are now. It's like, Mel's like fucking crazy, and I'm always like, God damn it, why, woman?
Yeah, I regret what I said earlier then about how the show didn't age well to me, because actually, now that I think about it, I kind of want to watch it again.
I actually, like, I think, maybe it was last week, it was the week before, I don't know, but I actually went back, watched the last episode, which, wasn't a 90s episode, but still, like, that was, still a decent episode.
I don't want to make a claim like this, but it seems like 90% of the episodes were like the cliche fucking sitcom thing.
Yeah, I'll give you that.
Because a lot of them are just cliched as fuck. Like, well, the sidekick gets the power, and then they treat this person like shit. And it was just episodes like that, or like, something happens, like they get a bunch of money, and then he loses it. Nobody believes him. They think he's a bad guy. Well, and then it turns out...
I will say in its defense that, yes, a lot of the episodes relied on sitcom tropes, but...
They almost subverted them in a lot of points.
Yeah, I mean, I'm good with trope and cliche if the way you're doing it with your characters, you do it well with your characters. If that makes any sense.
No, I mean, that's the thing. People always talk about tropes like they're the worst things in the world, but, I mean, realistically, anything's a trope if you think about it.
Everything is cliche in this time.
If you ever go to fucking tvtropes.com or whatever, it's just a bunch of autistic faggots fucking going at each other.
Kyle!
But anyways, yes, anything can be considered a trope, but, I mean... What people get tired of is the fucking, hey, let's shrink down to microscopic size.
Oh, God. Yeah, those cliches.
Did Hey Arnold have that episode?
No.
Okay, that's what I was
Not as far as I remember.
Like, we're talking about Hey Arnold, so that's why I was, like, confused. I'm like, wait a minute. Was there an episode like that?
No, I hope not.
Because, I mean, there were some out there episodes, like when they had to rescue the turtle.
Yeah.
Dude. So, Arnold and his elderly grandma... sneak into an aquarium at night, and they literally spring a turtle from its captive,
and then send it to sea.
Yeah, they send it to sea, and the turtle does not look very pleased because
it's a turtle bred in captivity. What the fuck was it gonna do?
I mean, my favorite part of that episode was the fact that they inadvertently knocked a man into a shark tank. But then, to be fair though, the guy was sticking his hand. There's this random scene in the episode where they're running out of the place after the alarms go off. There's this one security guard. I don't know why this guy didn't respond or anything, but he's sitting there sticking his hand in a shark tank going like, oh, you want to bite me? Too bad. Just kept on taunting the shark, and Arnold and his grandmother run by and knock him in the tank, and I'm thinking, holy shit, they just killed that guy.
Was it the dude that looked like the goon? Because They never that guy a lot.
No, they never, like, this guy just looked like an average security guard, because there was a part earlier in the episode where he's just feeding cookies to a penguin and going, here, you want some cookies? Oh, you tossed your cookies, because the penguin kept throwing them up. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on here? Like, what does this have to do with the plot?
I don't know, man.
I'll be damned if it wasn't funny.
Yeah.
And then Stoop Kid was afraid to leave
The Stoop Kid episode is probably one of my favorite episodes, because for the rest of my life I cannot sit on a stoop anywhere without really thinking about it. And just my favorite part of that episode is when at the end, you think this character has reached this amazing high point in their life. And it's like, no, now the great thing is I can hassle people from my stoop and off of it. And I'm like, what an awesome lesson to teach.
Oh, man.
I was like, Harold.
Oh,
Harold
God.
has to antagonize him one more time, and he just fucking chases him.
Yeah, because he was on vacation, and he throws.
He doesn't know.
Yeah, he comes back from vacation, so he wasn't there for Stoop Kid's, amazing transcendence from being Stoop Kid. But then Harold throws he starts talking shit, and you just see that as soon as he starts walking away, he jumps off the stoop and chases him.
Talk shit, get hit.
But then they have episodes where Harold is like this really smart, well-meaning person.
Oh, like that time where he finds his calling in life and wants to be a butcher.
Or the episode where he ends up dating that one giant girl.
Oh, yeah.
Like Big Patty, I think her name was.
He's like, I don't care if everyone thinks you're weird and shit. I like you. And it's like, that's actually a kind of good lesson for children.
But then they have that other episode where he gets the cat.
Oh, yeah.
And he's locked up in his room because they want to take the cat back from this old lady.
Yeah.
And he's just... I think I got one of my favorite moments from the show from that, because the cops are like telling him, okay, put your hands in the air, keep the cat in the one hand, okay, maybe put the arm down with the cat in it, and he just yells, you're confusing me!
Oh, man.
And it's just the fact that, I said, the show seems that we said the show is trying to deal with slice-of-life problems, but then I think about it, I don't think the cops would be called in that situation.
No. It gets a little nuts.
Well, yeah, what about the Jolly Ollie Man?
That is not... Yeah. He was one of the biggest villains of my childhood.
I'm sorry, that episode where Arnold tries to teach how to smile, and
the creepy ass smile he does.
It's basically what we call now a rape face. The ice cream man was basically a psychopath, and he hated kids, he hated his job, he was just an asshole, and Arnold, being the well-natured person that he is, I think he got stuck being with him for a career day.
Yeah, it was career day.
Yeah, everyone else got what they wanted to do, but he got stuck with Jolly Ollie Man. And
there was ninjas and fucking shit, or am I thinking?
No, I don't think there was a ninja. I think that was Invader Zim.
I think there was a secret agent, though.
Yeah, there was a secret agent, and I know Helga got to go with the cops.
That's right.
Yeah, but I just remember Arnold tries teaching him to smile, and his face contorts into this creepy Clive Barker from Hellraiser-esque eldritch abomination.
Oh, God.
And it was just the funniest shit I've ever seen.
Someone on 4chan had posted a picture of this crying kid, and I was like, oh my god, I remember this. It was when Arnold learned karate or something.
Oh, that episode was fucking funny.
And he's like, I just wanted to know when the bus was coming, and then he's just crying in his underwear walking home.
Well, yeah, because Arnold becomes a karate expert because the whole neighborhood came out to see him do that, because that's what happens when you're a fucking kid.
Right.
And your grandmother teaches you karate.
Like you do.
This guy comes out of nowhere just to ask him, hey, what time is it? Like Kyle was saying, and then it cuts to all these quick Fist of the North Star-esque flashes of lightning and Arnold doing karate things, and then suddenly the guy's clothes just rip off. He literally beat the shit out of this guy without touching him.
That's amazing.
Fun fact, I remember seeing a little bump on how they created all the characters, and all the characters are created household objects or something. We're showing Eugene's hair is an open soup can, and then
oh yeah, that was a Nickelodeon commercial.
Yeah, and Eugene's a spider, and it's kind of interesting.
Yeah, I didn't like that one. Kind of freaked me out to suddenly have this hideous looking spider on screen.
Well,
But I'd watch Arnold again. I might have to, actually.
Yeah, I need to go back and watch it because I don't want to really get into it right now. But the fucking Halloween episode is probably one of my favorite Halloween episode ever.
War of the Worlds.
Yeah.
And I felt really bad because Helga's dad became one of my favorite characters in that show.
Yeah.
And then the episode where you learn about Arnold's parents happened.
Oh god, yeah.
And I just remember him calling Arnold the orphan kid.
God, that episode was so fucking
And
hard.
when that happened, I was like, whoa, wait a minute.
That was like when I was going back. That's
harsh.
That's one of the last episodes too. It's like the last couple. I don't know what. Yeah, that's fucking brutal.
Like, that was, really harsh. I just heard a character on a kid's show refer to a neighborhood kid who he had interacted with before. Like, this is later in the series, so they knew each other. Referred to him as the orphaned kid.
Bob's an asshole.
He fucking tried to cut down their tree.
Yeah.
To make a beaver emporium.
You almost ripped your daughter's head off when you thought she was an alien. He rigged a bunch of beepers to be an explosive because they thought they were going to... Just to give everyone context, the Halloween episode of Hey Arnold was pretty great because it was mimicking the whole War of the Worlds fiasco.
Yeah.
Where Orson Welles, ironically enough, we were talking about him earlier, was doing the radio broadcast. They did the same thing, but the whole town went ape shit, and Helga Pataki's dad leads this renegade, Nick Fury and the Howling Commandos-esque team who go and
he leads an angry mob, and I think they have torches and everything.
I don't think they were an angry mob. They were all military, everyone was dressed in military garb.
Yeah.
Everyone had a Rambo thing going.
And as far as good as Hey Arnold was, we just kind of don't talk about the movie.
A lot of people seem to like the movie. No, I never bothered.
I did not. I saw the movie in theaters as a child, and I didn't care for it.
Oh, it's on Netflix.
It is on Netflix. Why does Netflix have all the Nickelodeon movies, but none of the shows?
Good question. Actually, quick question, since you guys seem to know. Is it true that Craig Bartlett, Arnold, first appeared on Eureka's Castle?
It appeared on Sesame Street.
Okay, maybe I was thinking something different, because I could have sworn...
there were little shorts on Sesame Street that had Arnold in it.
He's also, dating, or... No,
he is married,
married to
Matt Groening's sister.
There we go. Lisa.
Wow.
Yeah.
Weird.
Oh, well, that's cool.
So Craig Bartlett is brothers with Matt Groening.
That's why Dan Castellaneta was in it.
Yeah.
So I guess one thing I wanted to... So, guys, do you think Hey Arnold was a good example of a Nicktoon or a bad example?
I think it's one of the classic Nicktoons.
I've got it fucking bootlegged on DVD.
Okay, well, I would agree. I think it's definitely one of those ones, because, I don't know, sometimes you think back on these, and sometimes it is not worth revisiting.
The next one I wouldn't say is worth revisiting.
I don't remember, I remember watching it, but anyway, but the next one on our list is Angry Beavers.
I watched quite a lot of the show.
I did too, but...
I couldn't tell you shit about it.
Yeah, I don't... I remember that Richard Horvitz was what's-his-face?
No, the thing I remember from Angry Beavers, because it was fucking hilarious to me, because I love Lucha Libre, was their, superhero icon. Oh, God, what was his name? I have to look this up. But they had, a superhero icon who was this big, beefy Mexican wrestler. And they did an entire episode in Spanish.
Oh, yeah!
It was a pretty impressive feat to do the entire episode in Spanish with subtitles.
Because
all the characters... Well, yeah, all the characters sounded like them, so I'm assuming they were all... It was impressive.
Yeah.
And it was just
I remember they did an episode where everybody tells their story, and it's all animated differently.
Oh, yeah.
Someone told their story, and it was like an anime. And I guess Norbert...
El Grapadura, that was the name of their favorite Mexican luchador. Sorry, just had to get that out there.
I think Norbert... When I was a kid, I was like, look, he's Mega Man. That's all I knew, but no, he was actually Astro Boy.
Oh.
But it was all, super anime-inspired in, that segment. That's all I fucking remember. Remember there was a bear, and the bear was a dick, and he talked like Barry White.
Yeah, that's true. There was a music video called Beaver Fever.
Whoa.
Because they had I know, hilarious context in hindsight. Yeah.
I don't know. It's weird that this is the one thing I remember about Angry Beavers, and it wasn't even an episode. It's the vocal track to an episode that never got made, where they break the fourth wall and are very aware of their cartoons and that their show's getting canceled.
God, it sounds pretty fucking great.
And they like halfway through it, they just they drop calling each other by the character names. They just start the voice actors are just talking to each other.
I think the one thing I remember from the show that I really liked was the fact that they always had old 50s era B movies on, and they were drawn pretty much in the exact style.
Well, didn't they have an episode where they were like trying to see how long they could stay up, and like half the episode they were just sitting around watching old B movies?
I know there was one episode where Norbert would stay up and he would basically fall asleep, but then get like way too involved in the movie. Like he would take on the persona of something in the movie, so he tries to kill Daggett by becoming like a Viking space woman.
Yeah,
it was a pretty imaginative little show.
Yeah, it was. I remember liking it as a kid. Like I'd watch it if it was on, but like for the life of me, God, I don't remember a whole lot of specifics about it.
I think my favorite is that really. Well, anyways, I remember they did one of their B movies was called like Curse of the Mummy's Curse. It was like something super redundant.
It was always something stupid like The Revenge of the Crawling Hand from the Revenge, or something really stupid like you said. Just like old B movies.
At least they got that right.
The other episode that I remember was they were like marking their territory, and they were like literally pissing, and I think it was pink and green, and they were just pissing everywhere, pink and green.
Ew.
I remember because at the end of the episode, they try to claim like the world's biggest tree or something, and these lumberjacks claim them by rubbing them underneath their armpits.
Ew.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty. It was kind of a more modern incarnation of Ren and Stimpy, I'd say, because it had some. It wasn't as gross, but it did have some really bizarre.
It was
humor.
It was really bizarre writing, and I think it was probably good for Nick at that time because at that time you had you had Hey Arnold and you had all these kind of more tame shows because I think you still had Rugrats and Doug still running at that time.
I want to say during their program it was still playing like Gumby and stuff.
Yeah, I mean Angry Beavers is 97, so.
Maybe.
God, that ran through the 2000s. Damn, I didn't know that ran for.
I think that was around when like Nick Jr. started happening too.
Yeah. So
I know it's typically considered one of the classic Nicktoons because I've been seeing this shirt around lately. One of the clients I work with has a Nicktoons shirt, and I always see like mostly the '90s era. It's like Rugrats.
Rocco, Wild Thornberrys.
Right,
I think is it a green shirt?
I've seen it in a million different colors.
Okay, because I've seen a green one at JCPenney's down the street, and I keep considering if I want to get it or not.
I've seen it on Heather Gray at like fucking Kohl's.
Huh. Weird. But it was all right for what I remember.
I just can't remember much.
Yeah,
about
it did not leave a lasting impression.
I think I watched a few episodes of it a couple years back. It was on Netflix, and I was just really looking for anything. I think this was shortly after I binge watched all of Rocko's Modern Life,
which I need to do again.
And remembered how much I loved that. So it was funny. Like you said, it just didn't have like lasting power, at least to me.
Right. But
would I own a bootleg DVD of it? Probably not.
Would you own a bootleg DVD of Cat Dog though?
I was not a fan of Cat Dog.
No?
I liked it, and then I didn't like it.
I liked the theme song. I
feel like that the last episode felt just pulled out of their ass because it was just something they said in the theme song.
Well, that sounds about right.
What was the last episode?
They were trying to find their parents, and it was like a one-eyed frog and whatever else they say.
Oh, it basically was just like they said.
It was like a frog and like a giant, like a troll.
Oh, yeah, you know what? I think I saw that. Or at least I've seen...
Was that the last episode?
I want to say it was. They made a big deal about it.
I thought they I thought that was just like a... like a special episode, and they like showed up later in the series.
Maybe I don't fucking know. I just remember they made a big deal. It was probably played after the Kids' Choice Awards or some stupid shit.
Kyle's not a fan of the Kids' Choice Awards.
Who is?
I don't know.
Kids? No, I'm kidding.
No, I don't know. My only like real memory of Cat Dog is that before the Rugrats movie, they had a short, and my dad was like, you know, that I probably could have gone my whole life without seeing Cat Dog. I'm like, oh, okay.
I don't know. It just really wasn't that funny.
I don't know.
I liked it. I liked like the character Rabbit, whatever.
Oh, Oswald, or I think it was Oswald
was the little blue guy living in their wall.
Like basically their version of the red guy from Cow and Chicken.
More or
I
less.
was gonna say that he was just every person.
Yeah, every time they had a business that would show up, he would be the owner. He would be a worker.
Yeah, he was like every time they go into a store, he works there.
Yeah, I love the Rabbit. I didn't like the Greaser Dogs.
No?
Yeah, they were kind of awful.
Yeah.
My only problem with the show was, like, it rewarded the stupidity of Dog and punished Cat, and I really didn't like that. It was really mean-spirited to Cat, and I get it, it's a cartoon, but it's like, after you see Squidward get shit on so many times, you feel bad for the guy.
Yeah, I even as a kid, I kind of felt bad. I was like, why? It's like, he's trying to do good with his life.
He's just trying to, like, and it's funny because I thought about the same thing. That's kind of how I feel about Pearl from Steven Universe. Like, it always seems like the characters who are trying to be smarter and trying to be, like, you know, like, it seems like being smart is seen as bad. Or it just makes you a gaping target. And it's like, yeah, I get that. You make fun of nerds. But, I mean, at a point it kind of gets to, like, okay, we get it. Dumb is funny, but dumb can also be just as annoying.
Yeah.
I know. I've worked with some dumb people in my life.
I don't know. If I could say anything to its credit, I mean, the voice cast was pretty nice. You got Jim Cummings and Tom Kenny as the...
Billy was doing the Rabbit.
Yeah.
I know that.
Yeah. So, you got a lot of nice people working on it, and, you know...
I like the art style. It was fine.
That was the cool thing is I really like the background design of this show. Like when they went into the city that they live in, every building was like built specifically themed to whatever the building. Like if it was a business, they'd like shape it to whatever that place was selling.
I like their friends. It was like a blue rat. Not the one that lived in the wall, but it was like a big blue rat and then a pig. And those were like their best buddies or something like that.
I don't remember that, but okay.
You don't remember? There was like a pig that was like almost 6 feet tall, and then it had like... I want to say it was like a muskrat or some shit. It was just their buddies. They would always hang out with them or something.
I don't remember that at all.
Clearly did not watch the show enough to know this.
Well,
I just didn't really care for it. I think I've always been very anti cartoons that shit on cats.
Andy loves cats too much.
Not even that, just after a point I'm like, God, I get it. Fuck cats, but Jesus.
Yeah, like look up Cat Dog Pig, and the blue little rat dude is on there, and then the fucking
I'm afraid I'm gonna type in Cat Dog Pig, and I'm gonna.
Oh, this guy.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Okay, I kind of do remember that now.
And I also got an episode called Cat Dog Pig.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because like the pig comes over and like just like lives there now. Oh, okay. I'm looking at like old.
You know what though? To its credit, I have to say at least Cat Dog tried to keep sort of like the goofy spirit of the cartoons alive.
Yeah.
Like, you know, it didn't try to be. It literally was just a cartoon, and it was. The more I think about it, it was actually okay.
Yeah, it
Not
was
something I'd go back and watch.
Like it wasn't afraid to be goofy and push the limits of like what animation can do.
How did they go to the bathroom?
I'm pretty sure.
The thing is, like, they had a bathroom. They had a litter box and a hydrant. They just never show how they went.
Well, basically, one would shit out of its mouth.
Well, no, because there was a weird episode they had where it kind of got into their biology where, for some reason, like, the dental hygiene of one actually applies to the other half. So, like, Cat would always have, like, take care of his teeth and shit, but it was Dog's teeth that were getting cleaned, and his were falling out of his mouth because dog eats garbage all the time.
There was one where they went. I think Cat went inside out and traveled into dog's mouth or some shit.
Oh god, that was so fucking creepy. I think he was trying to
see this one.
I think he was trying to. I forget what it was, but I think he was dog was holding something in his sleep, and he was trying to get it from him. So he basically turned himself inside out, went through his own body up through dog's mouth, and he's just like, ugh, it's creepy. I don't like it.
But I always
No,
assumed
sir, I
they had
don't like it.
I always assumed they had a dick and an anus in their armpits. That's how they fucking.
We're getting insight into young Kyle's mind.
Oh,
No
Lord.
different than
That's
any
the
other
only
kid.
logical explanation.
Kyle had charts. He had graphs.
Yeah.
Just young inquisitive Kyle trying to figure out cat dog's
Staying up all
biology.
night, just he's got an ashtray full of a bunch of cigarettes. It's like, God, I gotta figure this out. Fuck biology class at school. Fuck that. Nobody cares about that.
Oh,
I have to
Pictures all
know
over
how.
the wall with string connected to them.
He's got a bunch of letters with other letters on them, taped together and then stapled together.
Oh Lord. Well, so
Anyways.
cat dog, yay nay.
Nay, I
Nay?
can live without it.
All right.
It's a meh for me.
Okay.
It's there. I would rather watch probably anything else.
Oh.
Well,
Like this,
I mean,
like our
when you
next
get-
show.
When you get down to it, and it's Fanboy or Chum Chum or Cat Dog or Mighty Bee or Cat Dog. I don't know if I'm making a good point. The X's or Cat Dog. There we go.
I didn't mind the X's though.
I
didn't.
didn't mind Mighty Bee all that much. I
didn't either.
I actually really kind of enjoyed the show because it felt like a fucking cartoon where stupid shit
And
would
it had
happen.
Amy
and-
Poehler on it. She made that show.
No,
You can tell.
Yeah,
I don't know. The show was funny. It was random, ridiculous humor, but it almost had a sort of. It knew what it was doing.
Yeah.
Are we doing fucking cartoons, or are we just gonna?
I don't. I remember the only things from Oh Yeah cartoons I remember are shorts that went on to be other Nicktoons.
True.
Mina and the Count is the one I remember.
Yeah, that's the only one that didn't go on to be a show that I remember. But
I remember there was a Picture Day cartoon, and I don't remember the whole thing, but the kid's mouth fell off its hinge and broke,
Ugh.
shattered into a million pieces, and that stayed with me for some reason.
That's creepy.
I don't know. I liked when it first came on. I was like, oh shit! What a cartoon show's back, which it basically was. but
Yeah, I think that was because didn't.
it was
I
the
think-
same people.
Yeah, because I think it was
Fred Siebert.
Yeah,
and-
Fred Siebert. I think he did that, and yeah.
Oh.
And, Fairly Odd Parents was on there too. I forgot about that.
That's true. It was.
Yeah, Fairly
Oh,
Odd Parents,
yeah.
ChalkZone, and My Life as a Teenage Robot all came out of that.
The guy Larry Huber who did ChalkZone.
Yeah.
But no, I don't know. I can't think too much about it. I remember there was something with a fox trying to steal chickens' eggs. I don't know. They weren't as memorable as Oh Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't say I know much. I remember seeing.
I mean,
It occasionally.
I appreciate that it was there because you basically got to see 3 or 4 new cartoons every week.
Yeah, but it always seemed like it came out at the most ass-backward times.
Yeah, I think from what I remember, they didn't schedule it very well.
It would come on seemingly random in the morning, and you would just be like, "Oh, I don't know what this is." And since it's 6 in the morning, I'm not going to fucking remember it.
Yeah.
Do you guys remember? It was the worst fucking art style ever, and the guy always drew, I want to say it was Tex Avery inspired. The guy always drew hair on things, so it was a frog was the character, and he was really hairy. And I think he was an ambulance driver or something.
I don't remember.
And it was very Tex Avery, but it was called Jamal the Frog. And I'm like, oh shit, I remember that.
I do kind of remember it.
There was one with a chicken or something. That guy's art style was just really rememberable. I think there was 2 bears. One was really big and fat. Yeah, those ones are like, now that I'm thinking about it, super Tex Avery.
I'm pretty sure the bears,
inspired.
he just literally ripped, that guy had to have taken from, because I'm pretty sure there wasn't that, like, Elmer and, like, wasn't one of the things, like, one of the bears would fuck up and the little one would, like, slap, like, spank it or something? Like, it was really weird.
It was something like that. I remember they were trying to take lights down, or they were trying to replace light bulbs or something like that. It was like their job.
Well, you got me. I don't know.
I definitely don't remember.
We're thinking about the same thing, though, because there was a little guy and a big one, and the little one would always beat the shit out of the big one.
Yeah, that sounds about right. I will have to try and do some research on that eventually. But I don't know. Yeah, it was just, it seemed like it was really cool. It just unfortunately was not advertised well enough to where, because I remember What a Cartoon on Cartoon Network, that was on almost, that came on, that was like one of their big shows. Sure, a lot of the shorts on there weren't that good, but I mean, it was on enough to where you remember them because they were there.
Yeah.
Who could forget Super Santa?
Oh god, I do remember Super Santa.
I'm looking down the list.
Oh my god.
I'm afraid I do not.
Oh jeez. Well, something I do remember things from.
Oh yeah, let's move on.
So, am I the only one who watched Wild Thornberrys with any sense of regularity?
I watched it fairly often, but I'm going to be honest, I don't know why I did.
Same here.
The art style was hideous.
Well, it's classy Scupo.
You know why I watched it? Because I really liked Nigel Thornberry.
Nigel was probably the main reason everyone watched that show.
That voice, and just the way he would talk, but the fact that he was also incredibly competent.
Yeah, it's like he acts like a bumbling idiot, but he actually knows what he's doing most of the time.
Well, I just remember one episode, it was kind of memorable because everyone was trying to find a way off this like island or through something, and he said he was going to build something that would fix it, and he kept calling it what it was. It was like a cabalito or something like that.
Oh yeah, he builds like a boat.
Yeah, he fucking shows up with a boat, and it's like, wow, he fucking built a boat
out of leaves and shit.
Yeah, I guess
the second thing Tim Curry is voiced by Klasky Scupo.
What was the first thing?
Real Monsters, dingus.
Oh yeah, that was last
week. Last week.
I'm sorry, I have horrible memory.
Dingus.
I don't remember what I did yesterday, which is probably a whole lot of nothing. But you know,
I like Debbie.
What?
Art style was shitty, but Debbie, damn.
You want to get up on that?
I don't know. I just don't know. But it was cool to see that they had a show that had a female protagonist, and it was kind of a more actiony sort of show, really.
It always was educational.
Yeah, I mean, they did teach you about the environment and stuff. They wanted you to. I wouldn't revisit it personally, but it was entertaining enough.
I'd still watch it. Like, I did, like, as a kid, I think I enjoyed it mostly because, like, every single week they'd be in a different, like, location on the planet, and they would, like, make it a fact to, like, alright, this is where it is on the planet. Here's all the indigenous people. Let's learn about this shit. And it's like, I'm learning things, but I'm not bored by it.
Actually, yeah, you raise a good point.
Because, like, at the end of every theme song, they would end it, like, on this giant world map, and they'd, like, zoom into wherever the fuck they were that week.
Valid point.
Which is, like, I think that was, like, a cool concept that the fact, you know, you have these nature documentarians, and they're bringing their entire family along on this globe trek thing. And it's like, what parent would do that?
Well, clearly Nigel Thornberry would, because he knew exactly what he was doing.
I mean, they did have the whole movie, which I still don't know why they thought that needed a movie, but... Yeah.
Because realistically, if you think about it, I mean, it really was one of the shows that had almost like a bigger plot.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, I like the Wild Thornberrys movie. It's actually not, like, it's actually a pretty good movie. It's actually really beautiful from what I remember. It's, like, the classy Scupo theatrical movies are actually, like, really well animated. But, yeah, I always wondered why it needed a movie, but...
it had 3 movies.
Rugrats had 2.5. Wild Thornberrys had 1.5 because they did the stupid crossover movie, which I was like, as a child, I was like, oh, you know, that's kind of cool to do a crossover. Then I watched it, I'm like, this is really underwhelming, and why did this need to be a thing?
Yeah, I was like, why? why the fuck are they crossovering these two? And then I'm like, oh, it's the same company.
It's the same. Like, I get that it's convenient, but it's like, it's a nice looking movie. Why did an idea almost this, not well thought through, have this kind of money put behind it? But anyway, the show itself, I enjoyed it. I like the characters in Wild Thornberrys. I don't know, girl characters, and I could watch it and not feel emasculated by it as a child.
They were pretty manly, so.
I don't know. I liked Eliza. She had that kind of whimsy of the world because she could talk to animals and all that shit. And
she was also hideous, but I guess most teenagers were.
I don't think she was even a teenager. I think she was like 12.
She had braces on her 2 teeth.
Right.
God, I just remember her being hideous.
Yeah, I mean, most of the characters in Classy Scopo's universes, they're kind of horrifying, but
like a fucking shaman gave her powers.
Yeah, and then you can't tell anybody. And then they had this bullshit episode where like her sister finds out, and then for some loophole reason she gets to keep her powers, even though it was like, if you tell anybody you can talk to animals, you lose your powers. So they're just like, all right, well, I guess your sister could know.
They went with the fucking The Rules book.
Sure.
And they were like, how can we find a loophole for this? Because every episode is...
Basically. Yeah, I don't know. It was a good... I enjoyed it. I've seen episodes, like, in recent years, and yeah, I actually think Wild Thornberrys holds up. I think you could probably show it today, and...
you could just cut the fat and just have Tim Curry be in Tim Curry. I would like
just videotape Tim Curry.
Yeah.
Hello. I want to ask Tim Curry, like, what he thinks about, like, how meme-worthy Nigel Thornberry is now.
Oh, he's probably like I think it's like the same thing with John Cena. He probably loves it, and he probably kind of like spurred it on.
I want to see Tim Curry dress up as Nigel Thornberry really bad now.
Have you seen the cosplay for it?
I've seen people do like really nice ones.
Yeah, some chick did a cosplay, and it was like, God damn, that's impressive.
Like, yeah, they did the giant nose and everything. Like, damn, girl, get it.
Yeah.
Oh Lord.
All right.
Well,
no one decide if that's a pass or a.
I'm not going to talk about Brothers Club because I never watched it, and I don't imagine we have anything to say about it.
I think I watched it just a few times, but that was also when, for some reason, I just really like to stay up literally all night during my summer vacations.
Yeah.
So it'd be like, it would come on at like 5 in the fucking morning, and I think that's another reason why that show never got any sort of viewing. I can't speak on its quality.
I
always get it mixed up with Kaput and Dowski.
I don't know what that is.
Yeah, I just assumed you just made that up.
Those are words. Those aren't words, Kyle.
It was another, like, spacey bullshit thing.
Lloyd in Space?
I was about to say that, but it was, like, something stupid like that.
Sorry, I had to.
I didn't mind Lloyd in Space.
I don't remember anything about it. But what I do remember is when SpongeBob came on. No, SpongeBob was before Rocket Power.
Is that right?
Yeah, it came out in, like, I think, like, May of 99. Rocket Power was August of 99.
Wow.
Shit.
We could see which one had staying power.
Yeah, well, to be fair, Rocket Power did have a movie. I mean, granted, it wasn't a...
It was a TV movie.
It was a TV movie?
And a couple of them, actually, but...
Well, I like the fact that the TV movie for Rocket Power had Goldfinger on the soundtrack.
Well, you know. But, before we get to Rocket Power, let's...
The Squid beefed it.
Do you remember when the Squid beefed it?
I remember every time Squid beefed it.
I'm surprised that kid didn't fucking become a serial killer.
Oh. But we need to talk about SpongeBob first, because...
Yeah, what the fuck do we need to even say about SpongeBob? It's still going on. It pretty much is Nicktoons.
That we need to basically stop watching it after about Season 3.
I know.
It was the Nickelodeon Simpsons. It had a peak, and then it ended.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, I never...
That is actually a very apt metaphor.
I mean, kids are still loving it, so... I mean, I don't know.
I don't know, man. I
would catch occasional new episodes at points, and it was still kind of funny, but... I just also assumed I've watched
Squidward.
I've watched the show so much after a point.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm sure everyone had this experience, but I remember in middle school, like, when it came on, me and my friends could have, like, an entire conversations that are just SpongeBob quotes.
That's like me, Joe. Yeah. That's like me and Kyle with Simpsons quotes.
Right? I've listened to you guys hold an entire conversation like that, and it's kind of horrifying.
I remember when SpongeBob premiered, it was after the Choice Awards, because, that's the best time.
It's like when you air things after the Super Bowl.
It's fucking stupid. Nobody watches the Kids' Choice Awards. I'm sorry.
Nope.
Nobody fucking does.
Quit trying to make it happen.
Yeah.
20 years.
But anyways, they premiered it after that, because, you gotta have people watch it. And it was the Tree Dome episode that I remember. It was the one where he was trying to get the job there.
Yeah.
Oh, a Tiny Tim?
Yeah. And then it was the Tree Dome one where he's, like, burning and drying up. And I was like, this is the best shit ever. Fucking love this show. And it actually really was good in the beginning. The art style, like, it's so bad if you look at the original one.
Oh, God, yeah.
It's really not polished at all.
No. Which is actually what I kind of like about it, is that, back in the day, the characters were off-model a lot.
Yeah, and what's weird is, if you look into the later seasons, maybe 2 and 3, it starts getting more modern, but once you hit modern, he looks like a total different character.
Yeah. Well, I think it's about season 3 or 4 is when they, start to force the animators to, they have to look this specific way all the time, so...
I don't understand that rule, because you did that storyboard thing. And
fun story. I did a storyboard test for Nickelodeon once, and I just had to do a storyboard test for for SpongeBob, and I didn't keep anything on model. Even though they told me to, and I'm like, it's close enough, and the expressions are fine.
Storyboards shouldn't even really be on model, to be honest with you. It should just show what's going on. I've got ChalkZone ones from the time I tried pitching to Frederator, and they don't look like what they're supposed to.
No,
characters.
Yeah, I mean, I see storyboard models from fucking Steven Universe and Adventure Time all the time, and they're basically chicken scratch most of the time. Enough to give you a good idea. But when Nick sent me the SpongeBob example storyboards, you might as well just trace over this, make a cell.
Pretty much. Just find him in those poses and fucking trace over.
Oh god, I think they would know, especially if they brought me in. But from what I heard,
on the spot.
From what I heard, working on SpongeBob isn't all that fun. So
no,
at least nowadays, anyway. But I don't know. I think it was interesting that Steven Hillenburg, the guy who made SpongeBob, wasn't even an animator; he was a marine biologist. He's like, I want to make a cartoon now.
I thought he worked on Rocco for a while.
Did he? I thought he was he just made SpongeBob because he's like, oh, I know about undersea life because that's what my degree is in. And
I might be thinking of other people.
Maybe.
I don't know.
I
mean, that's pretty inspiring.
I mean, I know that's why he was. I don't know if he was I thought that was he just came in to SpongeBob. I don't know if he worked on other things, but I know he was a marine biologist and.
I know, fun fact, all the characters are based on the 7 Deadly Sins.
Yeah. I can see that. Oh, yeah, you are right, Kyle. He met Joe Murray, and he was a writer, producer, and storyboarder on Rocco. Huh.
I've seen his name in the credits before.
All right, I learned something today.
No, we all liked the show. It was funny. Fucking funny jokes. It's just nowadays they kind of...
Yeah.
We've been relying on, hey, Plankton steals the Krabby Patty formula for the 289th time.
I mean, hell, that's what both of the movies are basically about.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because he's the only villain. Granted, I thought the first movie was really good. I don't know.
My problem with the first SpongeBob movie is that I feel like when you're going to make an animated series into a theatrical movie, make it look like you put some extra money behind it. Like the Rugrats movie was completely different,
Really? I thought they did
It
that
had
with
shading
SpongeBob.
and it had shading and it had fucking lighting effects that they didn't have in the cartoon.
I don't know. It just when I watch like the Rugrats movie or watch the Powerpuff Girls movie, I can tell that is like the theatrical version of this show. There are a lot of times, more often than not, in the SpongeBob movie where I could freeze frame it and I would just think it's a clip from an episode. Like there are spots where like, okay, yeah, you guys put some money behind this, but like for 90% of the movie, at least to me, it looks like it's just an episode. It almost feels like a really long episode.
You know, half the budget went to fucking David Hasselhoff.
Well, you know, I'm David Hasselhoff. That was so fucking random.
It was so fucking funny, though.
It was funny, but it's like,
actually-
okay, what's David Hasselhoff?
I mean, I don't know. I remember last week, me and a couple friends were honestly just talking about SpongeBob episodes, and it's still funny.
My favorite episode ever, and I'm sure it is of many people, is just the episode where they do where they're selling chocolate bars. And for some reason, my favorite quote of SpongeBob ever is like, "Let's get naked." It's like, no, let's save that for we're selling real estate. I don't know why that's funny, but just like the delivery of that line is amazing.
My favorite part is where he's just like, I was blown with glass paper stain. And he just goes on this long thing, and then he's like, oh no, and then he falls.
It's just long and drawn out.
I just love the scene in that episode where you gotta really sell your product. I love you. Patrick is a national treasure.
I love Phil Fagerback, or how the fuck you pronounce his last name.
Fagerback, I thought?
I don't know.
Someone was like, I figured out why Patrick is stupid. It's because he lives under a rock. Get it, guys? And I'm like, I don't think they thought that part. But
No, it's because, that's where you find starfish. You find them on rocks and shit.
I know. I don't think they thought that far. It's
No.
that whole, like, oh, well, what if Batman is in Arkham Asylum and he's the crazy one? It's like,
No.
Yeah, fuck that theory.
No, but
But anyways,
early SpongeBob good, later SpongeBob not so much.
no.
Alright.
There's a lot of memorable early ones, and the only one I can think of that was recent, and it wasn't even that recent to think about, it's the Handsome Squidward one.
Handsome
Oh
Squidward.
god, that episode is Sean. I stopped watching SpongeBob for a long time, and then Shauna caught that episode. It's like, no, you have to see this episode. You have to see this episode. And I was like, okay, fine. And it pretty much reminded me why I loved SpongeBob. Because that episode, I was in tears by the end of it.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like it's like much like The Simpsons. I'm sure it's like it's not as great as it used to be. Not every episode is a hit, but just every now and then you see a little bit of what it used to be.
Yeah. I know, like, I guess one of the artists came onto 4chan and was talking about it. He got so fucking mad and just, like, rage quit from it because people were like, why do you keep trying to do, like, these giant gross out things? Because that's what, they've been doing a lot of gross out humor, and that's just not what it is. It's never really been that. Where it's like, Squidward, it's a really famous thing. 4chan always talks about it. Squidward bumps his toe, and his toenail comes off.
Ugh.
And it's like this really, like...
He's a
nasty...
squid. He doesn't have toenails.
Yeah, it's just this really nasty thing, and they're like, why the fuck was that in there? Like, that's not what this is. There's a lot of things where it's like SpongeBob got a splinter, so they showed, like, his hand's humongous, and it's just pus-filled and, like, horribly detailed. There's some where it's like, I think Gary got replaced by, like, a little fish, and it turned into this giant monster, and, like, I don't know. A lot of people just got pissed off because it was this guy. He's the one that was drawing all this stuff, and he got fucking mad.
Jeez.
And he rage quit from it, but it's like, come on, like, it's not really what the show was about, in a sense.
No.
Harsh.
Well, to finish out this episode, you guys want to finish talking about Rocket Power?
I mean,
Do it.
Rocket Power was the epitome of extreme for teens.
It was so much, God, marketing. Like, we need an edgy show for kids.
It wasn't even that it was edgy. It was just kids who were really into like sports. They were really trying to bank on the extreme sports.
Tony Hawk, Pro Skater, and the X Games are popular right now. Let's capitalize on that.
And Devo did their theme song.
They did?
Rugrats. That was Mark Mother. Anyways.
Mark Mothersbaugh is not the entirety of Devo.
He's like the head of it.
That's fine, but he is not all of Devo.
Corporation.
Mark Mothersbaugh is his own person. He did the music to the Lego Movie. And 21 Jump Street and many other movies, I'm sure.
I mean, Rocket Power was decent, though.
I really liked Rocket Power for some reason.
I think a lot of the humor came from the dad and Tito.
I love Tito.
Tito was the best character on the show. Tito was basically their big Hawaiian, like, he was like the big friend of the family, and he was just this big Hawaiian guy who would always have like ridiculous stories to tell, and he was the wise man.
The ancient Hawaiians had a saying.
They had a saying, and it would always be some ridiculous...
It's always something you just made up at the spot.
But then suddenly you'd think about it and be like, oh wait, no, he's right. Like, he would always have these really smart ideas.
Oh, God.
I didn't watch Rocket Power. The only fucking thing that I took from the entire show, and my friend and I always say it, but I guess it was just like a magician or some shit.
That's the ticket.
Yeah, that's all I got. That's the ticket. That's all I remember.
Was the most random joke in the entire show. That character never appeared in any other episode, as far as I know, prior or after his appearance. They were building sandcastles, and suddenly they had an idea, and this guy just shows up out of nowhere. He was a magician, and he would just say, "That's the ticket." And he appears at the end of the episode and says it again, and everyone laughs. And I'm like,
callback references.
It's like, what the fuck is this guy's deal? Who is he?
I don't know.
Who is the magician?
I don't know.
Makes me wish that was like a thing, like a long gag in the show, but
I guess
I don't think you ever saw him ever again.
I don't know why. Again, this is another, like, it's my favorite line for the entire show, and I still don't understand why it's funny. But it's like the dad is trying to explain what a fish taco is to a random tourist. He's like, "What's a fish taco?" It's shit and shit. It's like, "What is that?" "It's hot salsa." "Is the fish taco shaped like a fish?" Like, "Sure, whatever." "Is that what you want?" It's like, "No, I have a cheeseburger." It's like, "Fuck you."
Yeah.
I love the fish.
Their dad was about to fucking kill somebody.
I loved Ray. Because this used to be a stud surfer, now he's just like this old fat guy who runs a surf shop. Okay, I never understood, like, they own the surf shop downstairs from the restaurant, but you never see him down there unless, like, is integral to the plot.
Somehow I don't think they thought that far ahead.
I don't know, like, the downstairs, like, the sign says it, and he says that he owns it, and sometimes he's down there renting shit out, but, like, 90% of the time he's up at the restaurant, and they kind of forget that the shop exists. I don't know why this bothered me as a child.
Once again, JD would stay up all night.
No, man, as a child, like, if I would just notice all these little details that the shows would miss over, and I would just bug the shit out of me. Like, why are you guys forgetting this happened? Just ignoring everything. I'm too nitpicky for my own good. But I don't know.
Shit like that would bother me as a kid would be like, the character's obviously smaller than those prison bars. Why doesn't he walk out?
Also that.
Keep me up at night, where I'm just like...
It's kind of like when you see a picture of Sonic the Hedgehog waiting for the bus. Man, why are you waiting for the bus? You're faster than it.
But, yeah, I don't know. I think Rocket Power was kind of like Wild Thornberrys, where it's like, it's not like something I'd watch, but, you know, the characters were written well enough that it, you know, kept me coming back to it, at least.
I do like how the smart character in that show would have his comeuppance episodes.
I thought they, like, actually treated what was his name?
Sam?
Yeah, Sam. They actually, like, yeah, he's a fucking nerd, but, like, most of the time he's, like, you know, they respect him for that. Like, at first, it's like, oh god, he's the smart nerd kid, like, fuck that guy, but, like, you know, once they're friends with him, it's like, no, it's actually kind of cool that he's a fucking nerd.
Oh, yeah. I just think it's funny, though. You'd have these episodes where they'd, for some reason, go back and start treating him like shit, and then they would learn.
Yeah. And, like...
You're gonna learn today.
And the thing that, like, I actually really enjoyed it as a kid, is that when they first meet him, like, it's very obviously that he likes the sister girl. God, why can't I remember anyone's name? Reggie. It's very obviously that he kind of likes her, but then they almost immediately drop that.
I think they realized there would just be more.
God, it would have been so annoying if he was like constantly like trying to get her just like, yes, I get it. You guys are both the intelligent characters, but
so many fan fictions were written.
I know there were with every character in that show, but I'm always glad where you can like have two characters, male and female, that like each other, but they don't have to be romantically involved in any way.
They have to. It's cartoon rules, man.
But we can break rules, Kyle.
Oh,
I'm not big on that. Judge Dredd will be honest.
What?
I'm a devout Judge Dredd fan. I don't think he'd approve.
Oh, right.
He's a real person in my mind.
He is the law.
Yeah, I know. It's like fucking asshole never read a comic book.
Oh Lord. Jeez. Well, do you guys have anything else for Rocket Power?
It appealed to a certain demographic, and I think it did. I think it did its job really well.
Yeah. I don't know how much Rocket Power would hold up nowadays, because it is very much a 90s, early 2000s show.
The one thing about Rocket Power that stands out to me, because Nick, the guy who asked us about Star Wars cartoons, we would always laugh about when they would say, like, an insult or something.
Oh, God.
And then it would pull, like, the 1960s Batman, where it would cut to a screen, and it would be, like, toasted, and it would, like, get really...
God, that annoyed the shit out of me.
It was so funny. We would always make fun of that, because it was just like, man, wouldn't it be great if that just happened in real life?
Okay, that is the one thing that I do remember hating about that show, is that, also the fact they really tried to force, like, what they assumed were, like, Californian beach lingo.
Yeah.
So they'd always have slang terms for things that I had no reference for.
Shooby, am I right?
They just said that, and they barely ever explained. They have barely ever explained their slang terms. I was expected to figure it out.
They don't have to explain shit to you, you shooby.
I mean, Kyle, you grew up in California. Did they say those things?
I didn't grow up on the fucking beach. I grew up in the fucking desert. Jeez,
California is all beach, Kyle. We know this.
No, California is all desert, and then there's some beach there, and it's just salt water to go with the salt and sand.
I'm sorry. Alright, well, unless you guys have anything else, maybe we should wrap it up for this week.
I guess we should.
Alright.
I can't think of anything else.
Alright, well, there you go. There's a semi-comprehensive analysis of Nickelodeon in the 90s for you.
That bygone era of the 90s where grunge held sway.
And now, Teen Nick will be bringing all of it back for you. Clarissa will once again explain it all for you, even though she wasn't a cartoon.
She had a fucking alligator as a pet, and I wanted an alligator as a pet, but you can't have an alligator as a pet.
Well, it's the same reason you can't have a platypus for a pet, but Phineas and Ferb had one anyway.
Well, to be fair, he is also a secret agent.
Right. Well, anyway, thank you for listening this far into the podcast.
If you've made it this far, you deserve a hearty pat on the back.
I thought you were going to say a spanking.
You know what? I think I was, but I also drank this NeuroSleep stuff, so I'm fairly coherent right now. It's kind of and I was thinking to myself, well, if someone is interested in a spanking, by all means.
Would Shauna be interested in that?
Hit me up on Twitter. We'll talk. We'll see if you meet my standards.
All right.
Fun fact about that, real quick. I used to drink NeuroSleep.
My standards?
Oh. I used to drink like 3 of them in a work shift, and it didn't do a thing. I would be on energy drinks and NeuroSleep, and it would be amazing.
I don't think you're supposed to do that.
Kyle, how are you not dead?
Yeah, I think that's equivalent to complete protonic reversal.
His anus is gonna fall out.
Like, I don't know, Kyle is just going to cease to be at one point. It's just going to be like, the beard.
Oh God.
I hope
So
that
anyway.
happens.
Anyway, Kyle's story is
Hit me up on Twitter, #Spanx.
Andy Spanks.
And we'll see if you, we'll see. That'll be the next contest.
All right. So, thank you again for listening this week. If you like this, please share it with your friends. That would be amazing. Reblog our stuff. Don't like the posts. They don't help. No matter how many times I write that, people still like it.
You
Share.
can like it, but you gotta reblog it.
You can do both. It takes 5 seconds.
But the reblog is right next to the like. It's
Right.
not that hard. You can kill 2 birds with 1 stone.
Right? There you
and
go.
honestly just reblog it. We take that as a like.
There you go. If you want to follow the show on our pages, there'll be links in the descriptions to our Facebook, our Tumblr, our Instagram, our Twitter. That was the one I was forgetting. And there's also links to our personal pages if you want to hit us up there. And Andy has been so gracious as to take the charge on all of our social media, so if there's any questions you guys want to ask, we are getting better at interacting with people on there, so...
I mean, hit us up. I don't think...
We're nice people. We don't bite. I mean, Kyle might, but he might have rabies.
Well, Kyle didn't have any input on the Star Wars thing, but he fucking, just like when he hears that, he just wants to yell, nerd!
The only Simpsons reference I get.
That whole thing happened when my boss was there.
Oh.
You guys were going back and forth, and it was like ping, ping on my phone, and I'm like, ah, fuck. What is
Now
this
you know
about?
why I turn notifications off when I'm at work. Alright, so...
And just randomly dropped by like 2 months later.
Oh,
Yeah,
God.
that's how they do.
Well... Alright, well, thank you for listening, everybody. We'll see you on Monday for the news show. And for something next week... Actually, probably the next month will just be Halloween-themed things.
My
You should
favorite
just
time of the year.
Iron Giant.
Oh yeah, I am gonna go see Iron Giant tomorrow. I'm pretty stoked for that. Alright, we'll see you guys next week. Have a good night.
Not everybody.
Whatever.
Oh, Kyle.